Hi there, I'm Dr. Sujay, Ambassador Sujay, and you're welcome to Live with Sujay. We are so excited to have you with us. We're here on Wednesdays at 5:30. LTV, want to give a shout out to all the team that makes this possible. But today I am so excited to have my neighbor, someone I've greatly admired, Jerri DeVard. Welcome.
Thank you, Sujay. It's so nice to be here with you.
So you're the founder of Becca. Tell us what that is and why you founded it.
Oh, I love that question because, it speaks to things that you never knew were possible that just kind of take over you. So Becca stands for the Black Executive CMO Alliance. And CMO is Chief Marketing Officer.
So you're known, I saw in one writing that you're known as the rock star CMO. So welcome, rock star. Yeah, but tell us what a CMO does and then how you got to Becca.
Right. So Chief Marketing Officers are responsible for, in my view, the top and bottom line growth of the organization. They're responsible for the brand, the reputation, the image, what you think of when you think of a brand.
Yes.
And what marketers do, and what great marketers do, is they build preference and consideration. They want you to consider the brand when you're trying to make a choice about what to buy or what to use. And they want to build a preference. They want their brand to be the one that speaks to you, because in this world of commodities, there's no one brand, item, company that has a monopoly on anything.
Yes.
So in a sea of choices, marketers want you to choose theirs, and they want you to think that their product is better than the others. But what marketers really have to do is make sure that that's real.
Okay.
Because if you're just selling fluff, it doesn't make sense.
Right.
And I've been, marketing called upon me early on in my career at Spelman College to be
graduate of Spelman.
a proud graduate
Yes,
of Spelman College. I know. We Spelman grads are like, if you're talking to a woman and she says that she went to Spelman, you just kind of give her a hug.
Yeah, exactly. And a pause, because everyone has to applause. And then a graduate degree from Clark Atlanta.
Clark Atlanta. I am a double HBCU.
Wow.
And I am stronger for it, because this whole idea of instilling Black excellence, understanding that you were going to potentially be a minority in a majority world, that I had probably gone to colleges that most people had not heard of, but I never took a backseat to anyone else's education, because both of those schools taught me that I was worthy, I was capable, and I was ready.
Well, I heard you were really an influencer on both campuses, but in this sea of choices, how do you make a brand stand out?
Well, so that is what distinguishes a good marketer from an okay marketer.
Okay.
And what it starts with is understanding what it is your customers or consumers want.
Okay.
What is it they want, and then what is it that you're delivering? You won't be able to deliver all of it, but you've got to know what your secret sauce is.
Yes.
Which takes me back to your original question, which was, what is Becca and why did I start it? And the Black Executive CMO Alliance is made up of, you kindly called me a rock star, but these 33 members are truly rock stars, Sujay.
Wow.
They are at the top of the house in their organizations, big organizations, where they manage hundreds of millions, if not billions of dollars on behalf of the corporation to make sure that their brand and their products stay relevant and desirable and compelling.
Yes.
And so I wanted to make sure that more people that looked like me were interviewed, were on main stages, were in the roundup of the best, and that we could come together collectively to make it better for those that would follow us, those young, managers and analysts and not quite officer level yet, where they could see people that looked like them, so they could understand that they had a chance to be there, and they could see it done in different ways.
Yes.
Because I remember when I was growing up, everyone said, "Oh, you should be more like," and it's like, no, the best thing you can be is your unique self.
Your unique
so
self.
we show them how to get to the C-suite, how to be a chief marketing officer, how to work for the CEO, and do it being authentically you. And the way we do it is also sharing mistakes we've made, lessons we've learned,
and a
things
lot of
we've
people
tripped
don't
over.
talk about failing your way to success. There are mistakes, but I say they're lessons, not losses.
That's very smart, because
Yes.
I've learned more from my failures, Sujay, than any success.
Exactly. It took me 3 times. I was a White House fellow under President Clinton, but what people don't know, I tried under Reagan, I tried under George the Daddy Bush, but finally when Clinton got in, I knew how to do it. The door was not only open, I had a seat at the table. And I think that's really what you're doing. You're saying, the door has been flung open for me. I've been on this trajectory for a long time, but I also want to make sure not only is it open for you, but you get a seat at the table of your choice.
The only thing I would probably change is the door wasn't opened. I had to kick it open.
Okay.
Right.
Okay.
So I want the generation that follows me to push on an open door.
I love
right?
that. I love that.
It's no one's going to open it up and say, "Oh, I'm so glad you came. We've been waiting for you." Maybe if you're lucky, but in the case that doesn't happen, how to, and it's got to be a little open, because if you have to really kick it in,
Yes.
then is that really where you should be?
Exactly.
If you're recognizing talent and your personality and what you bring to the organization, you want to plant your seed in fertile ground.
Yes.
You want to go to the places that are going to recognize, reward, acknowledge, appreciate, value your talent, not just say, okay, we can check the box.
Exactly. So let me ask you this. The Crown Act has passed in several states. Do you think that that's going to have an impact on this generation, or do you think you still have to go in a certain way for the door, even if the door's half open?
Well, first of all, I have to give a big up to one of our Becca members, AC Eggleston-Bracey.
Yes, I know her well.
At Unilever, and has been on this task for the Crown Act, and has really put a lot of heart, sweat, soul, energy, tears, everything into making this happen.
She has.
And so I'm appreciative of what she's done for women that look like me. I know for a fact it is impacting this generation, because when I walk into offices and I see natural hairstyles, braids, everything, and it being part of them. Now, what we have to work on, and what I don't know, is that I'm not inside someone's head.
That's right.
Around what the page one is that comes up about someone when you see them like that.
Yes.
But that's never been our issue, because I say when I walked into a room as a black woman, how you felt about that was secondary to how I felt about myself.
I love that.
And I wasn't going to, buy into whatever you thought about me, other than presenting who I really was. So when black women show up with natural hair and braids, they're showing the confidence to own who they are.
Yes.
And I think that gives them the freedom to speak about what it is that they know so well.
I love it. So when we first met, or when I first remember meeting you, we were in Jack and Jill.
Good old Jack and Jill.
And you were working for Verizon. But there have been so many corporations since then, and then you've been on corporate boards. So many people want the corporate board, but they don't want the sweat equity that goes into it. So if you had said what led to your first board, and what did it really take?
So my first board, and I tell the story, I didn't even know that much about corporate boards as a thing to aspire to or to want to be a part of.
Yes.
I got a call from a headhunter that said, we're recruiting for the Tommy Hilfiger board, and we'd like to talk to you about that. And I thought, oh, well, I knew the brand. I thought that'd be very cool.
Yeah.
And as I went through the interview process, I kind of got more and more excited about the ability to impact a brand that I thought was really, important. They'd gone through kind of unfortunately, the brand had been characterized as having said something in the black community that they never said.
Yes.
But it took a life of its own. And so coming into that, I was recognizing of what Tommy Hilfiger needed to be in the black community, recognizing that. But it was led by Tommy, and I was selected to join the board, and I really felt that it was a natural extension of what I was doing as an executive, a marketing executive in the company. And from that, then I think it's that first board that you get on that opens the doors.
Yes.
So people felt, okay, she's got the right operating role. She's got experience that we want, which is marketing and building desire and preference profitably. She's been vetted to be on a board. She understands what it's like to be in the boardroom, because board directors give direction, not directives.
That's a major.
Management runs the company, and board of directors give advice and guidance around that.
Okay.
So then I got more calls around what I'd be interested in joining other boards.
So does the boardroom still need some diversity?
Of course.
Okay.
Of course. Absolutely. I mean, the strides that we're making are still not enough.
Okay.
And when you look at the numbers, women certainly, the gender, when we talk about the diversity Olympics, certainly white women have won that because there's more representation of white women, but still the balance of people of color and blacks in particular. I think the last survey I saw was that we were about maybe 3.5 to 5% of all seats.
Oh my goodness, that's still small.
That is very small.
Yes,
that is very small.
Mm-hmm.
So, but more and more people are getting calls, and when people call me, I say, okay, I'm not interested, but here's someone to call.
Yes,
And
yes.
so rather than calling me 5 times, call these 5 people.
Yes.
And when I get calls all the time, every week someone calls me about or emails me about an opening for a director, and they're looking for a marketer, and I say, here are 33 people.
How awesome.
That you can speak to, and they're all Becca members,
Yes.
and so they are getting calls.
So is marketing the best trajectory to a board seat, or what other kinds of roles?
Actually, there are fewer marketers in board seats. I wouldn't say it's the best, but as a marketer, I think marketing is the best profession to be in.
Yes, of course.
But boards are looking for some. They want financial experience. They want cybersecurity experience.
Yes.
They want legal. It depends upon what they're looking for. But more companies are now recognizing that marketing and differentiation and purpose is really important and should be elevated to a board seat with that kind of expertise. So more marketers are joining boards, much like more marketers are becoming CEOs.
Yes. So I run the Global Black Women's Chamber of Commerce, Black women business owners, and more I see nonprofit women wanting to own their own businesses. COVID has certainly allowed people to pivot, as they say. But what's the road for the nonprofit woman who wants to go to corporate America?
So, okay. That's a great question that I'm not qualified to answer.
Okay.
And I'll tell you why.
Okay.
Because my whole journey has been through corporate America.
Yeah.
And not just corporate America, but Fortune 500, Fortune 100.
And that's a big
So it's my experience, I say that I got paid on the 15th and the 30th regardless of whether or not the company got paid.
Yes.
And even when I think about the boards I serve on, Under Armour, Dow, Cars.com, Root, they're all publicly traded companies.
Yes.
And so if you are a nonprofit leader trying to get on a corporate board or corporate role,
corporate role.
Corporate role.
Into corporate America.
What I think somewhere along the way, I'm hoping that you had some experience outside of nonprofit.
Yes.
But if you've had nonprofit experience that you think is in a sector of an organization that needs that, then you're ripe for it.
Okay.
So now I'm talking about what I think versus what I know.
Yeah.
I believe that if you are running a nonprofit in a sector and there are corporations that are in that same sector, that there are areas that you can provide expertise in that they will need because you've been on the ground at that.
Yes.
And making sure that you're, and I would also look at other nonprofit leaders that may serve on boards and say, now how did they, so what was their background and how did they get there?
Sure.
I get it. And I would reach out to them. LinkedIn, you know what? LinkedIn is a beautiful thing. You can reach out to people and say, hi,
I see we share something.
I'm interested, would you have 5 minutes?
Exactly.
Do you have 5 minutes?
And they respond.
And they respond. And when you see people that have had a similar journey, having been on a nonprofit and going to a corporation, talk to them about how they did that. But I do believe it's about being able to characterize your experience in a way that makes it interesting and compelling for a company.
Business school. So the young person who's graduating from college, do they need it if they want to be a young entrepreneur? Do they need it these days? Or do you say, go out, try your entrepreneurship, and then maybe business school later? I mean, there's money to be made, but what would you suggest?
I don't think they need business school, but they need to know business. So the question becomes, where are you going to learn business? Where are you going to learn, all of what you're going to need to run your business? Yes. And is that you're going to be an intern somewhere? Are you going to shadow someone? Yes. Are you going to, you're going to have to learn an apprentice, learn the business. And if you've learned that through osmosis or watching or just sheer, when I started Becca, I had never run anything my life. I had to find out how to file for a 501c3 or a nonprofit. I had to trademark a name. I had to get office space. I had to create bylaws and amendment and build a board and all the things that you have to do and hire people and pay them. And so, if you can learn that somewhere, then that's great.
But you have to learn it.
But you have to learn it.
Yeah.
Business school is a great way to do that, but you don't need it to be an entrepreneur. And I don't think you absolutely need an MBA to be successful in marketing. I've always said that I think companies use it as a screening tool. It's like, okay, I don't have to go through 100 applications. I'll go through these 20 that have an MBA. But I do appreciate my MBA. I learned a lot from my MBA, but I don't think it's as necessary as it used to be. There's so many people that have brilliant ideas, and the tools that you can, the barriers to starting a company now have kind of gone by the wayside. There's so many brands on Instagram that don't have a website, that don't have an office, but they can sell.
They can sell, and they have that social media that helps them amplify their message or their platform.
And people should go for it. If you have a dream to do that, do it now. Don't wait.
Exactly, especially if you're young. Go for it.
Regrets.
Your time,
Right.
So we're neighbors in a wonderfully historically African American community. So we've just celebrated a 75th anniversary. Talk to us about, now you've gone to historically black colleges. Talk to us about living in Azure, Sag Harbor, the village of Sag Harbor.
Well, I first have to thank you for that amazing job that you did, Sujay, on our 75th anniversary. That film that you did interviewing so many of the people that have made our community so special was beautiful, it was touching, and it's something that we'll all live with. And you said, how many hours did you spend on that?
100 in editing, about 2 summers. Just take my beach time, 2 summers. But it's going to air on LTV and probably will have aired by the time this airs as well.
Oh, okay, well that will be must-see TV.
Yeah, thank you. We'll air it a few times.
Oh, great,
yeah.
Okay. But no, we built our house in Sag Harbor in 2003. After many years of visiting and being other people's guests.
Yes.
The first person that invited us out was Susan Taylor.
Oh my!
And Susan Taylor invited us. I was, even though I'm a New Yorker born and raised, I'd lived other places, other countries, came to New York, and we were living in the city, and Susan invited us out, and we were like, wow, this is a beautiful community.
Yes.
This is an historically African American community, and I saw so many people that I knew.
Yes.
And I thought, what a beautiful community to raise my children, because you can live anywhere.
Right.
But the idea of being around people that I knew and that, we shared this kind of rich heritage and appreciation for, the people that went before us, the Maud Terrys of the world that created this special community. So I love it, and you can walk out your door and be safe and wave and see each other. Have the birds wake you up. We're on the ocean.
Yes.
It's beautiful, and raising my family and now my grandchild growing up there.
I love it.
It's just so special. And I was talking to my husband the other day, and I said, you know what? When we were living in New York and coming on the weekends, we didn't take advantage of everything and all the races. And so I said, I feel bad that my kids didn't run in the races when they were little.
Okay.
But my grandson and my grandchildren will definitely be in the races.
They have to. That's the big deal.
That's
the races
the big
on
deal.
Labor Day weekend.
Yes.
It's a big deal. So let's talk about children and motherhood. And now, our children, when we were in Jack and Jill, were children.
Right.
Now they're adults. So what's it like mothering a mother?
Well, mothering, because I have 2 children, my son and my daughter.
Yes.
But mothering, watching my daughter mother has been beautiful. She is kind. She is patient. Our grandson's name is Mavi, which means blue in Turkish. His father is Turkish.
Oh, wow. Okay.
Amut and Brooke are loving parents. They talk to Mavi in a way that is soothing, and they talk to him like an adult. They say, well, Mavi, you're going to have to put that down, or that's dangerous.
I love it.
And when I grew up, it was like, no. No.
Put it down.
Put it down.
Yeah.
But they say, no, that's dangerous, and she'll walk him over. You can't do that. You should do that. And he has the patience to sit down and have a book read to him because he's not in front of devices. He has no electronic devices. So you can read him, and he points and he talks. He's going to be 2 soon. But so it's beautiful to see, and also beautiful to watch how I need to evolve as a grandparent, right? Because I'm now number 2.
Right.
I'm now number 1. And so my only desire is to put forth their desires. And I always say, I want to be that, he calls me Mimi, or I tell him to call me Mimi. I want to be that Mimi that gets invited back.
Yes.
So I don't have any opinions other than what they want.
Exactly. My favorite moment in life was my mother standing over me as I became a mother. Just to have those 3 generations. I was just like, this is wonderful. And I have sons now, too. So I have 2 sons. So I have a different experience because they will have wives, hopefully. But I say this, I have to learn how to mother and not smother because they're boys, they're men. And so giving them the room to be the men they need to be. So how do you parent differently with your son?
Well, one thing that you made me think of is my mother is alive at 88 years old.
Ooh.
Not just alive, but sharp, witty.
Wow.
She and my father, who is 99, they just drove to Nashville.
No.
And they still drive, they still travel, they fly, everything.
Oh my goodness.
So it's 4 generations.
You
It's
have
my
4.
mother, me, my daughter, and my grandson.
Wow.
And we all in this, this family are appreciative of what it is the parents want.
Yes.
And so, I
beautiful.
think with my children, I definitely was a helicopter mom. I had a lot of guilt about being a working mom and not being there for all of the activities. And so when I was there, I probably did smother.
Yes.
But certainly my children have put me in my place around what's my business and what's their business.
Okay, they make sure.
So now I've learned when to step back.
Yes.
I never stop parenting. I'm still giving lessons. And my son will sometimes say, "I've got this, Mom."
Yes.
Or my daughter was telling me the other day, "Well, if you don't want to take, feedback," I was like, "No, I want to hear.
Yes,
I want to hear."
yes.
Because I'm learning now. It's the reverse learning. I'm learning from them.
Exactly.
And of course, my mom is always filled with wisdom. Every day I talk to her. If I give her, and I talk to her every day. If I give her a situation, she rolls it through and she says, "You know what? What I'm thinking is, or what I'm feeling is," and she's got this intuition about people and situations.
Oh, how fortunate
that's
you
just
are.
beautiful. So yeah, I knock on wood because I am fortunate, and I have an amazing husband. We've been together 38 years.
Yes,
So
yes.
2 beautiful children, a grandchild, my parents, life, wonderful friends that I love.
Yes.
So yeah,
and your
life is
countenance is beautiful. So if you had to say A plus B plus C is success,
Mhm.
what's your A, B, and maybe
Ooh,
C?
Sujay, what a great question.
I try to ask
You're
you.
doing more than trying, because I've done several interviews. My A, B, and C of what equals success. Well, I think the first thing is knowing that you're worthy of it, right? Wanting to be successful, because
Yes.
desire fuels, desire fuels what you get.
Yes.
What do you want?
Mm-hmm.
And early on, I used to ask for things that I wanted, but then I found the peace to ask God for what I needed.
Yes.
Don't give me what I want, give me what I need. But I
Okay.
felt that I was worthy of being happy and successful. I was worthy of that. I'd say the first thing. The second thing, and I credit my mom with instilling me with that confidence and that
Yes.
understanding, because
Yes.
there are a lot of things that she had to make sure that I did well. I followed that then with having picked the right partner in life. A lot of where you go and what you
Yes.
can do is who's on that journey with you.
Yes.
And if I had picked someone other than Greg Smith to be my partner, where he'd say he would check me when I was wrong, he'd support me and cheerlead me when I did things that were there was no competition.
Yes, yes.
I could salute and celebrate him, and he could do that with me. We have the same values about the children that we wanted to raise and how we wanted to raise them, and
Yes.
making time for that. And so I would say, desire, and then the right kind of network and
Yes.
group, and then putting myself in situations where I could flourish, where I could be
Yes.
myself and be valued and respected.
That's good. And they say, what's good is success if you have no one to share it with? So you have many villages. You have your work village, your Becca village, your family village, Sag Harbor village. So is there another village we don't know about that brings you joy?
I live in Boca. I live in Boca Raton, Florida, part of the time too.
Okay,
so
yeah.
that brings me a lot of joy, especially in the winter.
Oh, I know that's right. I spent last winter in Fort Lauderdale, and I think I'm going to be a snowbird.
Oh, really?
I'm leaning towards it.
We'd
Christmas
love to have
Day
you.
And New Year's Day on the beach. What?
Oh, it's wonderful.
Yeah,
It's
yeah.
wonderful.
You hosted me. You and Greg hosted me when I came to London as the U.S. ambassador. What were you doing in London at that time?
So when I was in London, I just moved from Helsinki, Finland.
Wow.
I moved from New York to Helsinki to be the executive vice president and chief marketing officer of Nokia.
Yes.
And
I
so
know that.
Nokia is based in Helsinki, and that was an amazing experience. And after living in Helsinki, then I moved to London. And so that's where I was. And we really, as a New Yorker, you thought that I lived in a very diverse world.
Yes.
You move to London, and you realize that it's such a rich environment of cultures and languages and customs. And even though we speak the same language, it's very different.
Yes.
But I really loved it. And the beauty of London is it's the center of the universe in terms of traveling to Europe, and so you could get to anywhere in an hour, and we took full advantage.
Oh yeah, well
full
thank
advantage.
you for the invitation. The night I came was the barristers' dinner.
Right,
Was
that's
it?
right. Yes,
Oh,
yes. You are good,
hey.
CJ. You are good, Sujay.
But
You
it
don't
was-
forget.
I try not to, but it was just good to see you flourishing.
Right. Well, you're a world traveler, so we were honored to have you to have us on one of your stops.
Yeah, I'm glad to be back home now. I'm glad that we have Sag Harbor.
Yes.
I had all 199 countries in my portfolio. So they had me on a plane. They were like, "Where do you live?" Or on whatever airline I was flying on.
But what an experience, though, right?
Quite an experience. And, you know, to see the family also enjoy it. Now, there was a day, you talk about going to the events. I was trying to be a helicopter mom. I flew from China to my son's pin relays. He was a shot putter. And, you know, you try to do the things you could as a mother, you know, and when he looked up, boys only look up for 4 seconds.
Right,
but they
right.
see you there, I was like, you know, I love being a parent and I love
Right.
what I'm doing. So
Right.
what's a highlight for you of your life?
Just being a grandmother.
Okay.
It is, oh my God, it brings me so much joy.
Mhm.
And you know, there are things that I would have done and could have done where I would not have been as present as I am now
Yes.
in his life.
Mhm.
And at the time, I looked at it as like disappointing, but now I see God's plan. Like,
Yes.
if I had done that, I wouldn't be able to be here. They live in the city in Chelsea, so they come and they spend, you know, Thursday through Sunday with me, and I just
wonderful.
love it, and I can go to the city and spend time with them. And if I was doing some of the things that I would have done, I wouldn't have been able to do that. So I'll never get this time back in his life, and I'm enjoying it.
I'm so glad. You mentioned God. How, does faith play a role in your life?
Absolutely. And you know, the thing about it is that I have so many friends that how religion lives either outwardly or inwardly,
Yes,
and I would
yes.
say I'm more inwardly than
Sure,
outwardly.
sure.
But what I know is that I've always embraced the fact that God has a plan for me,
Yes,
that I believe that what he does for me is divine for me,
yes.
and that I have to be able to recognize, appreciate, celebrate, and love him
Mm-hmm.
as he loves me.
Yes.
And so when I think about my parents and my children and my gifts and my blessings, I do thank God for that.
Wow, what a blessed woman. So Sag Harbor allows me to live my faith inwardly because I'm so outwardly on all the time. So to find a place where I can have just my time with God is wonderful. So the beauty of the ocean, the beauty of the bay is wonderful, and the beauty of wonderful neighbors and friends. So I thank you for being a guest with us. So we didn't get a chance the other night, but can you look right there and say, happy 75th anniversary as you rest?
Happy 75th birthday as you rest.
And happy 75th anniversary as your rest. And thank you for sharing with us. This has been Live with Sujay. My special guest has been Jerri DeVard, founder of Becca. And we are so glad that you joined us. You can join us Wednesdays at 5:30. But we're also going to be on the website. A shout out to my crew who made this happen. And a shout out to you for sharing this time with us. You can find me at globalblackwomencc.org, globalblackwomencc.org, or you can find me right here. Until the next time, be well, take care, and God bless.